Today we are with Mayor Ron Arnold. Thank you for talking with me.
Always a pleasure.
We're going to be doing a weekly show interviewing the mayor to give us updates on the community, how things are going, what's improving. We're also doing a section called Ask the Mayor. You can submit your questions to the website, and he will answer a few each week to update the community. Ron, as we're doing this interview, I've noticed there is a building being torn down, the old Elwood Hotel.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Yes. We are in the middle of demolishing the building at 1525 and 29 Main Street. It will, in the short term, be green space in our downtown. So we're excited about removing blight from the city. And it's been a major cause of blight in our downtown. We are working to then market that parcel to either new housing or new retail opportunities. So we're excited about being able to do this, and it's a big undertaking. We've got a local gentleman, local contractor that's removing it. So we've kept the dollars local, and excited to see it come down.
So the city will own this property once the building is torn down?
Yes, it will be a city parcel, and we'll begin marketing it just as soon as grass is growing in it. We'll begin getting the word out that we have a downtown parcel on a major state highway that's available to be developed.
Okay, during your campaign, one of your 5-point plans were revitalizing the city. Can you tell me what new things are we looking forward to downtown?
Yes, there was a focus in that 5-point plan, Pam, on downtown revitalization. And the first thing you have to do is remove blight, much like cancer. The first thing they do is remove it, and then then other treatment follows. Blight is the same way. We have to cut it out. We've got to get rid of it. And then we can go in and do constructive things after that's done. So the first step is removal, which is what you're seeing right now. And then after that, the real work begins, and that's, again, to market it and get something built there. In the interim, we've got a lot of things going on in that area already with the Madison Community Health Center, the Huntington Bank on the corner, the investment they made, CVS on the other corner. We've got quite a bit going on in that area. And so in the interim, we're just removing the blight is a plus for those businesses. If you go talk to the folks at the bank or the health center, it's a major detraction to try to do business and have something like that right in the middle of where you do business. So we're also looking at investing some of our economic development dollars that we were able to secure from the county, which is part of the food and beverage tax that everyone pays when they eat out. You pay 1 cent more on your food and beverages that you buy in the county, and then that money is used for economic development. And so we went over and wrestled away our share this last year and brought back $164,000 for downtown.
Wow.
And it's for economic development. And so the good news is with those dollars that we can do just about anything we think we need to do to get something happening in downtown. If it's tied to economic development in our downtown area, those dollars are there. They're in the bank, ready to be used. So one of the first things that we did is we had two things. First, we wanted to make sure we could get rid of the blight, which is the building that's coming down. I think it's important for everyone to understand, Pam, that the dollars being used to demolish that building are not tax dollars that you and I have paid in our property tax, and we're not taking that out of a general fund. Those dollars were program dollars from the neighborhood stabilization program that existed prior to me coming into office. There were approximately a dozen homes rehabbed or rebuilt around the city. when those homes were sold, and those dollars are now called program dollars, the money went back into a fund. And so we had some dollars that were going to go away in March of this year. The program ends. Whatever program revenue you have left is returned to the federal government. And so what we did was we said, how else can we use these dollars? We didn't want to try to build any more homes and be in the real estate business for individual homes, because we're working very hard on the abandoned home issue that we have. And that's another whole topic that we can talk about sometime. But we didn't want to impact that project that we have. So we started thinking outside the box. What can we do with these dollars? And with just a little bit of pushing on some folks to think outside the box, everyone got creative, and they said, "Hey, Mayor, we think we can figure out a way to use those dollars to take care of this blight that you've been wanting to get rid of." And so the bottom line is those program dollars are being used to demolish that building.
Is there any other specific ideas that you guys have come up with to use that money for, to advance the city?
Not in the neighborhood stabilization. That'll pretty much be the end of it. The program ends next month. Anything left in that fund goes back to the federal government. But the food and beverage dollars that we have, as I mentioned, there were two major problems downtown. One was the blight on Main Street. The second was we need an anchor in our downtown to ignite economic development across the entire spectrum of our downtown.
Right.
And so I stood on Anderson Street watching bricks fall off the Leeson building this last summer. And you realize how important that building is to our city. We could lose, rehab, reinvent, reconfigure about any building downtown, and it wouldn't drastically alter our downtown. But that's not true at the Leeson building. If we lost the Leeson building, it's much like a mall losing a Penny's or a Sears. If your anchor is gone, then there's nothing else to build on. It's it's building a home without a foundation. And so we were able to take care of the blight without having to use our food and beverage dollars, our economic development dollars. So that freed those up to then go to the second most important thing, and that was, how do we make sure that the Leeson building remains an anchor in our downtown? And so we're in negotiations right now to see how we secure that building and make sure that it becomes an incubator, if you will, for that economic ignition in our downtown. And so we're looking, talk about out of the box thinking. We're really out of the box and thinking, how does this very large retail structure that is, the building is solid. It's concrete, every floor is concrete, the roof is good, the heating and air is good. If you're in real estate, you talk about the bones of a house or a structure, they're great. But what people need to realize is, as I walked through the building that we're demolishing just a few weeks ago, it was destroyed inside. 8 years ago, that building was not destroyed inside. But the roof went, the windows went, it's vacant, and all of a sudden you take a building that's okay, and it's beyond repair. And so in a very short period of time, our Leeson building or any other building downtown can go from okay to needing to be demolished.
Right.
And so we've got a very short window of time with a lot of our buildings downtown, that if we don't do something, if we don't ignite a revitalization, a reason to revitalize, we're going to lose a lot more buildings downtown. Roofs are expensive, windows are expensive, maintaining buildings is not cheap. And so if people can't produce revenue out of those buildings so that they can maintain them and improve them, we're going to lose them. And so our focus is going to shift very quickly to the Leeson building. And we've had some inquiries on a movie theater in the building, some other retail, some additional food and beverage opportunities. And so we've got a local drafting and design person that's done a first round of ideas and drafts of looking at how we maximize the use of that square footage.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've looked at that building has 3 levels, not including the basement.
Mm-hmm.
The main floor where the furniture is currently, and then there's a mezzanine, which one look at our plans has been maybe a food court in that area. And then you have the second floor, which is as much square footage as you see on the first floor, repeated. And our initial drafting and design plan showed that it's very capable of being housing a theater. And so the interest that we had from some gentlemen wanting to open a theater in Elwood could be a reality in that building. And what we want to make sure that we do is we want to be our downtown has to be a destination, and we've got to have a reason for lots of people to come downtown. And right now we don't have that. The Opera House is doing its best. It has functions, it has banquets, and there's proms and weddings and special events, and we just had a tremendous ball there. We packed the house and it was a great time. But we need something on a daily basis that's driving people to our downtown. If we're able to do that, Pam, then you will see all those other buildings that are either empty or not being utilized 100%. There will be a reason, there will be an incentive for people to invest in those buildings. Because if you're moving hundreds of people downtown every day, if you go to a movie, what is your normal process? You're going to look for something to eat before or after. You've got other things that you do. If you're like me, I've got several kids I'm taking to the theater, so I want to feed them before I get to the movie theater because I can't afford all the popcorn and the candy there. So I don't want them coming to the movie hungry. And so we have to go out of town to go to the movie. And so when we do, we're eating out of town. Mm-hmm. And so what happens? I'm paying a food and beverage tax to another county. And so as a mayor of this city, it pains me to go to Tipton and eat and go to a movie because I know those tax dollars I can't ever capture for Elwood. Mm-hmm. But if I'm eating in Madison County, I know that 1 cent tax, those are dollars that I can go battle for, like I did the $164,000.
Right.
And we can keep those in our county. So it's very important to have our local people doing as much as they can in not only our city, but our county, so that we capture those dollars. Not to mention the jobs created, the other taxes that are paid, the utility service that's used, on and on and on. But we've got to have a reason for people to come downtown. I know you're much younger than I am, but when I grew up, our downtown was completely full. And I've had someone say, well, if you have a movie theater, where would everyone park? We have a parking problem. I pray we have a parking problem downtown again. But I remember growing up, and many that was watching this video will remember, we had a full department store in the Leeson building. Furniture, clothing, shoes, hardware. It was a full Sears store. I mean, it had everything, every department. We had a J.C. Penney downtown. We had a Montgomery Ward. We had a Murphy's 5 and Dime. We had a couple drugstores. We had restaurants. We had ladies' clothing. All of that was downtown, and everyone was driving much larger vehicles than we drive today. I remember my parents' Pontiac was a boat, and we found parking. When we bought our school clothes at Penny's every year downtown, my mother didn't have a problem finding parking, and there were lots of things going on. So I can only pray that one day we're complaining about where we park, but we've got to have a spark, and if that spark is us for a period of time stepping into the Leeson building and maximizing the efficient use of that, and incentivizing other folks then to open up shops, to do business downtown. I know Mr. Hall that owns the Opera House. If we're able to drive more people downtown, he has other parts of his building he wants to use, and he's working on a downstairs banquet room, and he's got the corner section of that building that needs to be a restaurant. Mm-hmm. And I've had conversations with him about the possibilities of that restaurant, what it could be, and he's got great ideas. But we've got to drive people downtown. Mm-hmm. It doesn't do any good to open a great restaurant downtown if no one's down there. And if that's a movie theater, if that's more retail, whatever that is, we've got to try. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I remind people, there's no neutral. You're either driving forward or you're rolling backwards. You can't sit in a car and put it in neutral and it just sat there. It's going to roll forwards or backwards. Mm-hmm. Or someone is going to come knock it out of the way. We don't have a choice not to do something. And so you can look around our city and you can see what being paralyzed by fear and in a concern to try new things, you can see the result of that. And the result's not a pretty sight. And so are there things that we're going to try that are going to fail? Probably. Hope not. I hope everything we do succeeds wildly. Mm-hmm. But there are going to be things as we try them that are going to fail. Businesses start and fail every day. It's a beautiful thing with a capitalist society and a democracy where people have the freedom to succeed or fail. But we want to make sure we have the right environment for people to want to take a chance in business, to invest, to put money back in their building, or to buy the building for the first time. And so we're excited. We're excited about what we think we can get started. Lots of work to do. But the great thing is we have people dreaming again and thinking again and hoping again. That's the biggest battle, is you got to think it's possible before it really is possible. And much like the building coming down, if you don't think outside of the box and you don't push people to be creative, then they're not. And so those dollars would just go away and the building would still be standing and eventually it'd fall down, and then we would have to figure out, okay, now what do we do and how do we pay for it? I always tell everyone, as a football fan, I love offense. I don't like to be a defensive player. I like to play offense. And so what we're trying to do is be offensive. And not offensive, but offensive. And there's a big difference there. We want to be ahead of it. We want to try it. We don't want to wait for the building to fall and then say, okay, well, now what do we do?
Right.
We don't want to wait for the downtown to be empty to say, okay, how do we get somebody down here? And so we're gonna keep trying those things. I don't have all the answers. I have the determination that this community is far greater than it knows it is, and so I'm going to keep pushing. And I invite anyone with ideas, with thoughts, with concerns, share them. Try to keep an open door as much as possible. We're pretty busy, which is why I appreciate elwoodindiana.org allowing us to do these on a weekly basis, because there's so much going on. We want to be sure we're communicating what we're trying, what's working, what's not working, and where we need help. Our community is a great community. People, when there's someone who's ill and there's a fundraiser, there's an outpouring of support. We have great people, caring people. I was just at a fundraising dinner last Saturday for Megan Hole at East Main Street Christian Church, filled with people. People are there, they care. But we want to do a better job communicating what the needs are, mm-hmm. Which is why this forum is so important, so that people can ask the right questions, have the right information, and plug in where their strengths are. And so I continue to encourage the community to get on board with us, help us do things that people think are impossible today, because I know this community is better than it thinks it is. I know it is.
Now I have a question. I noticed at the mayor's ball, you had made an announcement about Warner Bodies.
Yes.
Can you give us any idea of how that's going?
Love to. Had a great meeting yesterday morning here in my office, and I've had several people call and say there was so much applause going on. We didn't hear what was the full name of that company, what happened. It's good, but what was it? And so we had a great crowd there, and April did a tremendous job feeding more people than she said she could feed. Again, we push a little bit, and people people step up. So thank you again, April, for doing that, because we did push the numbers. And I apologize that we did that, but everyone had a great time and everyone ate. And
it worked out great.
it worked out wonderful. So I don't encourage everyone to push April on her numbers, but anyway, she did a good job. But Warner Bodies, currently located in Noblesville in Hamilton County. I'm excited to say we're going to steal something from Hamilton County. They've been taking our dollars and our retail dollars and our people, and we're shopping in Hamilton County, and we're doing a lot of things. And it's fun to pluck something out of Hamilton County and bring it to Madison County and to Elwood. What a tremendous company and group of owners. At the ball, they were so moved by alternatives, and where all of our proceeds from the ball went to was for the kids in shelters of alternatives here in Madison County. And they were so moved by the community support and the people that were there, and excited about the community they're coming into, that they doubled their money to alternatives that they had donated.
That's wonderful.
But we are right in the middle of actually inking the deal, where people are signing on the dotted line. But what this means is, they currently have around 50 folks employed in Noblesville. When they come to Elwood, in the former Plastec site, and do a complete renovation of that building, there will be 200 people working, 150 additional jobs, plus the 50 that they're bringing up. And I need to mention, of that 50, I've run into at least 2 gentlemen that are from Elwood driving to Noblesville.
Yes.
And so, what a great thing for people that are already working, having to drive out of town. That's one of the things I heard when I was running to be mayor. Man, I wish I didn't have to drive out of town to work. Can you bring jobs so we don't have to do that? Well, we're going to do that, Pam, and I'm thrilled to be a part of that. And these are good paying jobs. The lowest level is $12 to $13 an hour, and the high level ends around $19 or $20 an hour. There's insurance, there's benefits, it's a good company. The other exciting thing is a lot of what they do involves welding, a lot of custom welding. And so we're working with them and our John H. Hines Career Center here in Elwood to have a good welding program, so that we are able to train our own folks in our community to work in our community. And so we just talked yesterday about, it's going to be 6 to 9 months before they're full bore. If they took possession in March, it's going to take them this year to rewire the building, get machinery moved in, and all, because they're buying a lot of new equipment and expanding. So it's going to take this year to get that all up and going. But when we get to the first of next year, and we have those folks here working, and they're starting to hire those 150, I want those folks from Elwood to be ready to be trained locally. They don't have to drive to Anderson. They don't have to go to Indianapolis, Kokomo. Go right here to our Career Center. Get trained in the welding field. Go to work right here in Elwood in a good job that you can buy a home, raise your family, pay your taxes, eat out, come to the Opera House, come downtown to the new movie theater, whatever it is we're doing. We want people gainfully employed. So we're very excited. We can't do the photo op yet and actually cut the ribbon, but that's coming. That may happen in as little as a week. At the most, we're probably looking at maybe 30 days. There are attorneys involved in everything, unfortunately. And, so, until the attorneys actually say they're okay, I know between the city, the Redevelopment Commission, and the owners of Warner Bodies, we're all okay. They're excited, we're excited. We're anxious to get those jobs here and going. The investment that they're going to make in the facility is going to be multiple millions. The tax that's paid, they're going to be a utility customer. The benefits just go on and on and on. And not to mention a lot of people working that aren't right now. So
yeah, that helps.
So yeah, we're excited. We've been working on this for a year. It's the reason why in that 5-point plan that you mentioned earlier, we talked about the number one thing was a redevelopment commission. And the importance of a redevelopment commission was it allowed us to take ownership of Plastec. And before we had a redevelopment commission, we had no vehicle by which we could take ownership of that building. And so what would have happened without a redevelopment commission is the county would have taken ownership of the building, not the city. And we're no longer in the driver's seat. And so because we knew we were going to be able to take ownership of that, we went to work immediately looking for the right tenant for that building.
And it worked out.
It's worked out. We're blessed and excited, and look for a ribbon cutting and a picture real soon. But this is the real deal. These are real jobs, good jobs, a lot of synergy in the community. And I offered to the Warner Bodies folks yesterday, to be a resource for them, for people to apply for those jobs. We're going to run that through the mayor's office. A lot of folks come to the mayor's office anyway, looking for a job or talking about what opportunities are out there. And so I didn't want people to have to drive somewhere else to apply, to go to an employment office that's in Anderson or Kokomo or Marion, or to go to a temp service that's somewhere out of town. So we're working very hard to make that hub right here in the city building. Be able to come here, get your application, find out what the process is, and we'll be able to help you plug into the Career Center, to Warner Bodies. And after the ball, they had a few people already show up and ask for applications for the Elwood plant. So there have already been some very industrious folks, which I applaud. That's what you got to do. You got to go out and get it. But there are a lot of folks who can't do that. And so we had that discussion yesterday, and they were more than willing to allow us to help facilitate that.
So when the time comes for the applications to be taken or whatever, will you let us know so we can inform them?
They will hear it right here on elwoodindiana.org with you and I talking, when they can come up here and grab them and not have to go out of town, and we'll let them know.
Great. Well, if you have any questions for Mayor Ron Arnold, we'll be asking him different questions throughout the week. We'll take 2 or 3 that come in. Must go to elwoodindiana.org to submit those questions. Thank you for offering to take questions from the community. This will help give you a chance to say whatever it may be to him, ask him whatever you wish. Thank you for talking with me today. I appreciate it.
Always happy to. Again, I appreciate elwoodindiana.org, you, Pam. There's so much going on. The worst thing that can happen to us as a community is misinformation, rumors, miscommunications. So please plug into elwoodindiana.org, ask your questions, get your information. We're gonna give it to you as close to real time as possible, so that we can have the correct information out. Because we want folks understanding exactly what's going on, and I work for you, so I want to hear from you. I want to know what you like, what you don't like, and together, I know we're going to make this a better community.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pam.